Welcome to the Seeds of Transformation podcast, where biblical truth meets modern day. I'm your host, Dr. Allma Johnson, and I'm thrilled to embark on this journey with you. Here, we'll delve into a myriad of topics from healthcare to finance. Why? Well, everything begins with a seed. Join me and a few keen guests that'll stop by periodically as we explore the power of being a seed sown in shaping our lives and communities. After all, in Jesus' hand, a tiny seed becomes a miraculous testament of faith and growth. So, grab your headphones before you go on your walk or hop on that treadmill, and make sure you turn up the volume in your car and get ready to be inspired, challenged, and encouraged. Let's sow seeds of transformation together and witness the incredible harvest that awaits us on our collective journey. Let us begin. Well, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. So excited to meet you and to share a little bit about your book, Unshackled, and your story behind it. If you wouldn't mind sharing just a little bit about yourself, who you are, and we'll get into our questions for today.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and just be able to share my story with other listeners. So my name is Veronica, and I wrote a book. It launched. It was published in January of this year, and it's called Unshackled, a teen mom. I forgot my title, huh? A teen mom.
It's okay.
A teen mom. And it's a memoir, and it's my testimony of my life and what that journey was like. And so I've written different parts of my journey in that book, and I'm just so excited to be able to talk about it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now I see you have the elevation hat. What is that all about there?
Yeah. I'm also I work vocational ministry full time, and
Okay.
I work at Elevation Church as a project manager.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. So on your book, you have a chained butterfly. What is that all about, and how does that reflect your story, or in your
Yeah,
story, I should say?
yeah, that's good. The butterfly and the chains was something that God gave me. It was like an imagery that He gave me when I was trying to figure out the cover and what kind of, yeah, like what I would even put on the cover.
Yeah,
So that imagery is really like the way that I received it was that the chains represent your sins that hold you down. And the butterfly, when you think of a butterfly, you think of it so free, it's, so delicate, and it just wants to be free, right, in the
yeah,
world. But if there's chains attached to it, it holds you down, right? Like, so the imagery was there's chains on the butterfly, and then some of the chains are broken, kind of resembling that it's a process, right? It's a process of breaking free from your shame and from things that you feel that have held you down for so long. And yeah, so that was a representation of those chains and just breaking free.
yeah. I love that because when I saw the chains being so weighted, and just thinking in my mind, and then you see the butterfly, it's just as you were stating, free. It's so light. Most of the times, if anyone has ever held a butterfly or even got close to holding one, having one lay upon you, I should say, you barely even feel it. So
Mhm.
that's the freedom we have, and I'm so grateful for that. So tell me about journeying back through your mom's sacrifices in the past. What did you learn about yourself in doing that?
Mhm. Um, I feel like I learned so much about my mom,
Mm,
just in a deeper level, just appreciating the things that she had walked through to get. So my mom she immigrated from El Salvador. It was during a time of war in El Salvador, and she had my sister and my brother at the time. They were very little and young. She left them behind to come here to the United States, and it was just really nice to hear her journey and her story of how she got here. And I'm just so glad that I got to tell her story through
Mhm.
my book. Um, because I feel like a lot of her story is my story, and so I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. So definitely wanted to include her in my journey.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting how your story and her story, connects so well. What about becoming a teen mom? How did that shift your identity and then set you on this path of freedom, the butterfly, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Um, so a part of my journey, I God kind of revealed to me this generational chain
Mm,
that was just a bondage in our family that was going from generation to generations. So my mom was actually a teen mom. Um, and that was also like another part why I wanted to include her in this story and in my story, right? Because it's just, I wanted to give a clear picture of how the chains work and how we can break them as well. I also felt like in my life, by the time I wrote the book, I had hit like a full circle moment
hmm.
and had like this, like revelation of like, wow, God, you've been so good. Of stopping some of those generational chains that were a part of our family. I've been able to see that those breaks in through my children.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I would say uh, that the story like with my mom and having her be a part of it has been just the trajectory of the whole thing. And yeah, I'm not sure. I hope I answered your question.
No, you did, and it's so interesting how our journeys, our past, almost catapult us into where we're supposed to be today. Sometimes
Yeah.
we look back on our past, our journeys, other uh, teen moms out there or mothers who were teen moms, and you just think like, oh my gosh, and I'm right where I'm supposed to be doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that path to freedom, no matter where you begin, it is a journey, and it all it's all with the Lord. I really love this about your book and about the journey and the story that you tell because in my writings on bridging generational gaps, these are things can that can actually bring, put those gaps in between us if we're not careful. So I really love that about that. My next question for you was what was the hardest thing for you about, or hardest part, I should say, about fully yielding to God and breaking free from any expectations that you spoke about that you had in your book?
Yeah. What was the hardest? I think for sure, just like looking back, and having to like recall a lot of hard moments in my life and really getting to a place of being emotionally there and remembering a lot of those feelings and just healing. So writing brought a lot of healing. I know that this book, if anything, it was really for me and for my self healing. I do feel like I got to a place where I was like healed and I wanted to share that with people. Because I do believe that when you share your story, you should be in a place of healing, right? Like you're
Yes.
speaking from a place of like, I went through this, God got me through this thing, and this is how I did it. And this is how God guided me. And I think that those things are important to speak from. And I definitely felt like I was in that place. Like, okay, Lord, I've seen everything you've done in my life. I've seen the things that you have done through my children. And I'm so grateful that I got to see what a life would have been if I had it with you the whole time, right, as a
Mhm.
teenager. And I've been able to see that through my children and the lives that they have now. Yeah.
Okay. And you speak about your children. Your eldest is 20 years old.
Hmm.
Okay. And you adopted a son,
Hmm.
right? Tell,
Correct. Yes.
okay. Tell
Yeah.
us,
So,
tell us about
um,
that. Yeah.
yeah, of
And your
course.
faith and
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So, So my husband, I met him in high school. We are high school sweethearts.
Okay.
We've been married for 13 years now. And we have Isabel, so she's 20. And then we have Julian, who's 18 now. And Matthew, we adopted. So he is my brother-in-law. Um, and he is 18. So we have young adults, teenagers, um, and yes, it's been so beautiful to just have like this blended family. We never thought that we would be adopting a teenager.
Hmm.
That if anything, was kind of like, "Are you sure, Lord? We weren't
Yeah.
we were great teenagers ourselves. You sure you want to entrust us with a teen boy?" But it's been so like for us an honor to walk him through life and to just be a part of his life.
Hmm.
He joined our family when he was 15, so he had lived most of his life with his mom. He lost his mom to breast cancer, so just helping him heal through that. Also, we were healing through it because that was my mother-in-law. And yeah, it's been a journey of just healing for all of us. I think it was something beautiful that God has done that He allowed us to like heal together. So we used to live in Maryland as a family, and we moved about 2 years and a half ago to North Carolina. And when we moved here, we had no idea why we were moving here, why God had moved us. But we quickly learned that it had a lot to do with just healing and getting in a place of having time to like really sit with our emotions and
Mm.
heal from all the grief that we just kind of put under the rug and thought we were okay, but we weren't. And so I think God was really taking care of us. He knew that He needed to take us out of our environment to do the healing. And yeah, it's been really good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's an interesting connection there. Yes, family, the adoption, it wasn't a traditional, so
Mhm.
I know people are going to say, wait a minute, did she say that that was her brother-in-law? Like,
Yeah.
what? And when I saw that, I said, okay, yeah, this is something different here. I want
Mhm.
to get back into the chains right now because that's huge for me. Bridging generational gaps. Uh,
Mhm.
Reconnecting, doing all these things with unity. What are some of the most common chains that you would say that you see, even being in ministry? I know you see them there um, that we're bound by today, and how can we break free?
Yeah. I mean the biggest one for sure is shame.
Mm,
Shame of your sin or of the thing that you've committed that you're just too ashamed to share with anybody. I know that the enemy just really keeps you quiet and keeps you shameful. And I feel like a lot of people, you're getting to know them and they're like, well, I don't want to share this thing because you might look at me differently or judge me, or there's all these thoughts that go through someone's mind when they're living with shame. And I have learned that there's just so much freedom. I know our journey here, we're a part of a church that is just so healing. It's a very healing church, right? Out
yes.
of the church comes a lot of great worship music, and the atmosphere is very like healing. People come that are just so far from God, that are in state places. They've been in places that you just, when you look at them, you would never imagine. But when they share, it is, for me, it's so beautiful to hear where they've been. And then I look at them and I'm like, wow, I can't believe you. Like, God has really taking care of you. That's amazing. And so I think that there's so much freedom in sharing your story, sharing with somebody,
Mhm.
whoever that is, so that you can speak it out and, yeah, receive that like community. I think community too is a part of that, right? Like finding people that you can just do life with
Mhm.
uh, and not be isolated because your shame also keeps you isolated and not wanting to be around people and seeking that. So yeah, I think a lot of it is the shame part and
Yeah,
just people not wanting to share the things that they've walked through.
yeah, that's so true. I see that too. And even with teen pregnancies,
Mhm.
um, what would you share? What message would you share for a teen mom, even currently right now, who is struggling, yes, with the shame and all of the other things, just trying to see her way forward? What would
Yeah,
you share with them? Yeah.
yeah. I think a big thing for me was, um, yes, there is so much shame with anything, right? With any sin we commit. But I think as a teen pregnancy, it's really something. When I think of it, it's like I can't hide this. The world is gonna see my sin. Like there's no hiding this. No matter where I go, like they're gonna see it, right? Like it's very visible to the world, and I think that just there is like this sense of like ownership. I did have to like really go through a season where I was like, no, I'm gonna own this thing. This is a decision that I made, right? And it wasn't right, but it's here. So now what? Like what is my next step? How can I how can and my favorite verse is Genesis 50:20, um, that don't so God will use anything, right? Like the enemy will try to use things against you, but God wants to use it for good. And so I feel like that is the thing, right? Like maybe you've walked through something really hard, but
Mhm.
what are you going to do now? Right? There's an opportunity for this life that's in you. Let's give that life a better opportunity. And I think that was my mission. Like my mission was to, all right, Lord, I feel so like there's no purpose to my life. Like my life is over. That's what I felt as a teen mom. And I got to the point where it was like, well, I'll live my life for my daughter. How
Mhm.
can I give her what I didn't have? How can I give her a better future? How can I help her be better in life? And turn her to Jesus, right? Because
Yes.
he's ultimately the only one that's going to protect her when I can't be there. He's the one that's going to lead and guide her to help make good decisions and have that conviction of doing things correctly, of living a life that honors him. And I think that it was just a lot of like taking ownership of what I had done and then finding how do I move forward. And then finding people like community to help me
Mm.
do that, right? Get plugged
Yeah.
into the church and just doing my best.
Yes. And
Mhm.
I was thinking somewhat of the same thing, but I was more on the side that is no matter what, it's still a blessing. And
Mhm.
God does not make mistakes. He never promised that we would not be without trials or tribulations. But one of my favorite Psalms is Psalm 73:23, that continually He will be with us and holding us by His right hand. So He's always there. Thank you for sharing that. So, my next thing is I just want to know what's next for Veronica? What's going on with Veronica?
Mhm.
What, what's,
Um,
what's happening
yeah,
next?
that's great. Yeah. So my book is published. I am working on creating a Spanish translation of the book. So
Oh,
I'm very excited to be able to share that with my Hispanic community, the translated version of the book. And I'm also going to be launching an audiobook version of the book as well. So just little projects here and there with the book. One of the fun things that I have been doing with the book, and I'm still like exploring how that's going to look, is I've been like looking for organizations that help teen moms or help young moms and just kind of partnering with them to see how I can either share my story or donate books or whatever that looks like. That's been, for me, that's been very like, okay, Lord, this is what the book is for. Like it was never for me, but it's always been for your people and to encourage others that are just needing the encouragement.
yeah, that's awesome. Just sharing that, you gave God
Mhm.
your yes. And look
Yeah.
what He's blossoming, that seed that was sown, just blossoming into so much more, so much greater. Well, listen, Veronica, I so appreciate you sharing, and on all levels, your time, your journey, all of it. And thank you for joining us here today on the Seeds of Transformation podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Seeds of Transformation podcast. Before you go, take a moment to share your thoughts with a 5-star review and connect with me on social media. Listen, your feedback fuels growth. Until next time, stay inspired. And as always, keep growing in all things of God.